I'm reading and watching One Piece for the first time, and I have thoughts and feelings about the Alabasta arc. First of all, I think it would be fair to say that Crocodile is the most competent villain we've had so far. He's had the best plan. He's been the most nefarious, I would say. And just generally his presence was like great. I loved him. And he just looks and sounds impressive. I'd say the only person who's come close to him, if I was ranking villains, would be Arlong at this point. And I really like that Luffy did get defeated a couple of times, especially in juxtaposition to the other Straw Hats, who did all succeed at their respective fights. And, you know, it's not the fact that he was losing that matters, is the fact that he came back and came back stronger and learnt each time and finally came out on top, which is what matters in the end. Zoro was great as usual. He had a great leveling up moment where he finally learnt to cut through steel, which I feel like it's a power he doesn't fully understand yet. Like, I feel like he's unlocked something like he needs to explore a little bit more now. But that's exciting. I love his developing relationship with Chopper, how he's really like looking after him and like carrying him around. And he's got a bounty now as well. I do feel that the other Straw Hats should also have bounties placed on them, but fair play, Zoro did defeat like the next highest, I think, so I get it. Also, funniest moment, hands down, was definitely when they were all racing to the clock tower and the Marines told Zoro to go north, so he just kept going up. And Sanji's literally like, north doesn't mean up! But it worked well. It worked well for them. So just keep doing what you're doing, Zoro. Speaking of Sanji, I'll call him Mr. Prince anytime he asks me to. He had a great time in this arc. I loved how smart he was and how suave he was in rescuing everybody a couple of times. I really enjoyed his fight with Bong Clay, which again just highlighted that he's this really good mix of the other Straw Hats. You know, he's strong like Zoro and Luffy, but he's also smart. You know, he recognized that there was a pattern to Bong Clay's kind of like powers, and he identified it and used it. And he spared him. He is so compassionate, and I love that Oda is keeping him true to his origin and how he was introduced when he was compassionate with Gin and fed him. It's just, yeah, it's just great. Speaking of Bong Clay, I would love to see them again. It was unclear if they like actually properly sacrificed themselves in helping the Going Merry get away. I hope not. I just think they're a really great character, and I'd love to explore this like blossoming friendship with the Straw Hats a little bit more. Let's talk about Vivi. I adore her, and I'm so sad we're leaving her behind in Alabasta, though I totally get it. Like, they need some stability in that country, and Vivi's probably the best person to actually implement that. The part where they all silently lift their hands with the crosses in goodbye was so moving. I was reading it on a plane and my friend who's ahead of me in the anime, literally she looked over and I could see she was like sympathetic to what I was going through. Yeah, it was just great. And in my eyes, she is still part of the crew, and I really hope again, like, we'll get to see her again at some point soon, or she'll come on some adventures in the future. Like, that has to happen. Nami had a great fight. I love that she identified that she needed a weapon and went to Usopp in advance, who made her something that I think, like, yeah, he didn't understand how powerful it was, but because Nami is so smart, like, she managed to work it out. Like, watching her start that fight in a really hopeless situation with, like, just summoning birds and flowers, and then morph into, like, one of the best fights and the most creative fights ever was just great. And kudos to Usopp to creating it. And he also had a great fight. Him and Chopper had to also be super creative in their fight. And I honestly feel like they're the best ones to watch, because you don't know how they're going to pan out. And I love the dynamic with Usopp and Chopper, where Usopp was like bleeding out and Chopper was like, no, get a doctor. I love them all. Niko Robin is still an enigma. I know she joins the crew because I've seen images and I'm pretty sure she was in the credits. But at the moment, it's super unclear what her intentions are, what her motivations are. She obviously wanted information from the Poneglyph, which she didn't get. We know that she's got a troubled background from the Marines, which probably means we're in for a traumatic backstory because this is One Piece. So yeah, I'm excited to see how that develops and see where she comes in and how she fits into the crew. I was sad that we didn't see Ace again towards the end of the arc. I really thought we would. I thought that like his fire powers were going to like be one of the keys to fighting Crocodile because like, you know, the whole sand, fire, glass thing. But you know, I am glad that Luffy got to be the hero, so it's fine. But yeah, when are we going to see Ace again? I miss him already, and I want to know what his deal is, and why does he not have the same last name as Luffy? What is it with the D? I want to know more about the D. Anyway, in conclusion, great arc. I loved that everybody had time to shine. Everybody contributed something useful. Everybody played a part. And it was just great. I'm really excited to see what happens next.